I don't think any of us entered the year 2024 thinking that we were going to get brand new Linkin Park music, but here we are. Hey everyone, my name is Amir, like the kind you look into, and I've been a music producer for the better part of 20 years, made my own music and worked with other artists as well, and Linkin Park is, I don't know if they still are, one of my favorite bands of all time. They were a band that really helped catapult the sound of nu metal, whether they liked it or not. Their debut album, Hybrid Theory, came out of absolutely nowhere. It was like pop music, but it was heavy. It was structured like pop music, like the stuff that you would hear on Total Request Live, which was really big at the time, but it was heavy. And you had phenomenal rapping skills of Mike Shinoda and the equally phenomenal singing skills of Chester Bennington, with different members of the band having specific things about their instrumentation that made them stand out, whether it was Joseph Hahn as the DJ, or Brad Delson as the guitarist, or even the rest of the rhythm section as well. Back in the day when this channel was a music-only channel, now I kind of talk about music and tech and how it kind of works together, if you will. But back when I was just reviewing music, I actually made a tier list of my favorite Linkin Park records from worst to best. You can check that out somewhere around here, and I'll leave the link in the description box below as well. So imagine my surprise when Linkin Park announces not only a new singer, but a new record in full, cheekingly titled From Zero. If you know the history of Linkin Park, their original band name was Zero, spelled with an X, X-E-R-O, as opposed to Zero, Z-E-R-O. So this is an interesting vantage point, if you will, that they've taken with this record, that they're basically starting from scratch, if you will, right, with this new iteration of Linkin Park, but also paying tribute to their roots. But one of the things that I noticed right off the bat with Emptiness Machine, From Zero is the intro track, but that's basically a very pseudo intro track, and it goes back to the days of Hybrid Theory, not really necessarily Hybrid Theory, but Meteora. Meteora had that intro track that went straight into Don't Stay. This is sort of similar, where it goes from the intro track From Zero to the Emptiness Machine. So really there's only 10 tracks on this record as opposed to the 11 that you see on the track listing here. Emptiness Machine, first single, I think was formulaic Linkin Park. It was a very Living Things-esque Linkin Park sound. So latter Linkin Park, where the instrumentation and the production was super elevated after years and years of success that the band had. Song-wise, I think Emptiness Machine is a perfectly serviceable single. Definitely not my favorite Linkin Park song of all time. It's a good song, I think, to start off the record. It gives you a good vibe. The next song is Cut the Bridge, and Cut the Bridge immediately reminds me of Bleed It Out. This is where I think that the album title From Zero has a double meaning because they're starting from scratch, but also they're paying tribute to their roots from the time that they were zero up until now. Cut the Bridge very much has a very similar Bleed It Out beat. So that guitar sound right there is kind of like the dee-nee-nee-nee-nee-nee of Bleed It Out, and then you got I bleed it out, thinking deeper just to throw it away. So that's immediately what I think of, right? I like the chorus of the song quite a bit. I like the pre-chorus specifically. I think Mike's section to me is my least favorite part of this song, but I really enjoyed the pre-chorus and the chorus of Cut the Bridge. Really nice second official song on the record. Heavy as the Crown is the follow-up. That song reminds me a lot of Faint. The style and template of that song is very similar to Faint. It even has the string sounds that are kind of reminiscent of Faint, whereas Faint went da 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 da. Heavy as the Crown has. And even drum-wise, it sounds like Faint. Remember that drum sound? Dun dun ba da ba dun ba. Here's Faint. So you got those string sounds again. Those cut-up string sounds. Listen to the drums. Boom, ba, ba, ba. Same drum pattern as Heavy as the Crown, right? So I think Faint is a intentional homage to one of Linkin Park's biggest singles of all time. That's Faint. Over Each Other is the first song that I think is Emily front to back. It's a really nice song. It shows off her vocal prowess, if you will, her vocal abilities. And I think the production on the song is really quite nice. Mike Shinoda, I just have to side note here, is one of my favorite producers, songwriters in general in the modern day, because I think he uses instrumentation really well and in a really clever way. Like if he uses piano, it's not straight piano. There's some distortion to it. There's some noise to it. There's some effects to it. He's very specifically manipulating the sound of a basic instrument like the piano and turning it into something very unique. He does the same thing with strings, with other instrumentation of the sort. So with Over Each Other, he's doing the same thing. You're hearing the kick drum has distortion to it, has punch to it. This song reminds me of something that would have been on Thousand Suns. It reminds me of that style, of that kind of futuristic style. Again, paying homage to the sound without like intentionally ripping it off. This, in my opinion, being the first like original 2024 Linkin Park song with the new sound. The other songs paid homage to like previous songs that Linkin Park had released in their catalog. Over Each Other feels like modern Linkin Park. What modern Linkin Park would have sounded like without relying on the tropes of the previous stuff that made them big. Casualty is an interesting like response though, because Casualty is just nuts. She's screaming pretty much throughout this entire song. Hunting Party-esque, okay, right? But I love the drums and the guitars. A lot of vitriol, a lot of anger in this song. Again, gives me Hunting Party vibes. Not necessarily from anything specific in Hunting Party, but gives me those vibes. So far we've covered Living Things, Meteora, Thousand Suns, Minutes to Midnight with Bleed It Out, and now Hunting Party. Every single flavor of Linkin Park that we grew up with from Hybrid Theory, from zero on, is being represented in this record. My second favorite song on this record though is this one, which is called Overflow. It's track 7. And the reason why I like this song so much, again, those are piano chords where he's cutting out the beginning and the end. So you're only hearing the notes in between the hit and the release. This song I love. It's got a lot of mic in it. And when he gets into the verse, it's got this almost kind of like reggae-esque feel that's really cool. And then what I like about this song very specifically is when Emily goes into the chorus the first time, it's all quiet. I love those double vocals there, very ethereal. So it built. It was gonna build and build and build and it was gonna release, but it stopped. The second she said overflow, it went right back to the most basic version of the song that they started out with. But then when they get to overflow the second time, here comes overflow. Love it. And then the song goes about for another 40 seconds there. That leads us into Two-Faced, and that song is getting a ton of attention. That song, the first time I heard it, immediately I'm like, this is One Step Closer. This is the sequel to One Step Closer. Everything from the guitar riff, that bum ba da dum is like bum ba da bum ba da da. I would bet you it's the same BPM. They go into ba da ba da 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 da. I mean, from the second I heard it, I'm like, it's One Step Closer. Now, the chorus is not One Step Closer, it's different. All good there, but then you get to the bridge. We get all quiet. Bum, ba, da, ba, da, da. And instead of shut up when I'm talking to you, we get stop yelling at me! Complete with Joseph Hahn, DJ Hahn, actually scratching in the background. It is 1000% the breakdown to One Step Closer. Instead of saying shut up when I'm talking to you, it's stop yelling at me, which is another way of saying shut up. So it's straight up a sequel to One Step Closer. Another YouTuber pointed out the fact that it's called Two-Faced as opposed to One Step Closer. I like the song a lot. It's fun. The chorus has been stuck in my head pretty much all day, but I can't help but point out that like this is the Hybrid Theory representation on the record. We go on to Stained. This could be the One More Light representative. You got that vocal right there. Very pop. This is probably the poppiest song on the record. Very pop-centric chords. 4, 1, 5. Yeah, and then you got the call and response vocals. The next song I think is really, really fun, and that's IGYEIH, which stands for I Gave You Everything I Had, because the first thing she says in the song is to me, again, this is like 2024, what 2024 Linkin Park would have sounded like and does sound like now. And you're probably watching me being like, what the hell does he mean by saying 2024 Linkin Park? Well, I'm basically saying that without falling on the tropes of like what they did in Hybrid Theory, Meteora, Minutes to Midnight, Thousand Suns, Living Things, etc., One More Light, Hunting Party, yada yada yada. This is like if they were to like hit the reset button and like, okay, we can make anything we want. We don't have to follow that. We don't have to like, pay homage to that. This is probably what they'd sound like. I really like this sound. This sound is dope. I love I Give You Everything I Had. The last track on the record, Good Things Go, to me is an okay song. I've always found that the album closers for Linkin Park albums have been kind of hit or miss for me. I thought Pushing Me Away from Hybrid Theory was okay. I like Numb. I don't love it. The Little Things Gave You Away from Minutes to Midnight is probably my favorite album closer of theirs. But Good Things Go is a decent closer, not my favorite on the album. Overall, as a producer, it's nice ear candy again to listen to Linkin Park because Mike, as the producer, just brings it with the production in general. But nonetheless, I'm a fan of the record. Where would it rank as far as my all-time favorites? I'm not entirely sure yet, but I do like it. Well, what are your thoughts on the new Linkin Park record from Zero? Let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, my name is Amir, like the kind you look into. I'll see you later.